Let's talk about anger for a moment. Anger is a perfectly normal, natural response to being abused or going through some kind of a long-term traumatic situation. I say it's normal, natural, and I would even say it's healthy to experience anger. But what happens whenever you are living in a situation where you cannot express that anger? It often becomes repressed until you finally find yourself living in a situation where there are no consequences for your anger to come out. So I want to give you something that you can do with your anger that's healthy. The problem with anger is that if it's left unexpressed, if you don't have a healthy outlet for it, what ends up happening is you can end up displaying that anger in ways that are extremely disruptive to other people. In effect, you can end up becoming the abusive person in a situation. And this is a very, very frustrating and difficult and complicated situation to be in, because what's happening in those moments most of the time is that you have anger that you have not yet resolved yet. You don't understand where it's coming from. It's anger that you were not allowed to express in a certain situation. And now that you are not in that situation any longer, now it's coming out in areas where you are safe. However, your anger may be making other people feel unsafe. And so you need a safe place to express that anger. I learned at a very young age that singing is one of the most helpful outlets for expressing anger. When you turn your anger or any strong emotion into song, it becomes something beautiful. And that's what we're doing here with our voices on the Healthy Voice. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to take our difficult emotions and turn them into music. Now, there is one caveat I want to mention. When it comes to anger or any emotion, we must become familiar with something that I like to call the emotional dial. The emotional dial is where you become aware of how much feeling to express as you are singing. Now, when you're alone, you're in your room practicing, you can go all out and you can take that emotional dial all the way up to 11 and it's totally fine. There are some consequences, however, whenever you sing at full anger frequency. The consequences are we can create a lot of tension in our throat. We can do a little bit of damage to our vocal folds. And that's why it's a good idea to learn some vocal technique so that you can learn how to express your anger in a healthy way and maybe even create something beautiful along the way. So today I want to show you a very basic exercise that helps you to engage with your diaphragm. And so let me just scoot back here. So briefly, let me explain how the diaphragm works. So the diaphragm is a muscle that sits inside the rib cage, and it's constantly pumping down and up, down and up, down and up. And as it pushes up, so let me back up. As it pushes down, it fills up with air. And then as it goes up, it pushes that air into the lungs, and from the lungs goes out through the larynx to make sound. So singers learn how to actively engage their diaphragm. In order to really have a lot of control over your diaphragm, you also have to become aware of all the muscles in your rib cage and in your abdomen, and you must begin to strengthen and stretch these muscles. This is why I recommend Hatha Yoga to all of my voice students, because it stretches the intercostal muscles, it stretches the obliques, it makes the abdomen muscles nice and flexible so that you can expand everything in your torso, therefore filling up that diaphragm with more air to be pushed into the lungs. That's how a singer gets more air supply. And if you want to express strong emotions like anger, it's a good idea to concentrate on this part of your anatomy. So first, let's go ahead and put our fingers at the bottom part of our rib cage, the highest point of our waist, and go ahead and fill up. Feel everything expand. Let it go and feel everything collapse. And so now, with your concentration on the front of your belly, I want you to go ha, 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 and feel it kick. Ha, 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 ha. When I took self-defense classes a long time ago, the first thing my instructor had us do on day one was to engage our core muscles and go, no, no, no. You might want to try it. It's actually quite cathartic. But let's go ahead and put this practice into a vocal exercise so that you can start to see what it feels like to engage these muscles as you sing. Ha, 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 ha. 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 Ha, 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 ha. So we would normally keep going. However, as we get a little bit higher, if you're not trained in going higher into your head register, especially while engaging the diaphragm like that in what we would call a belt, you may find some discomfort in your throat, some strain. I don't want you to strain these muscles for any kind of sound that you're working towards. So if you find that you're starting to strain your muscles, just stop and work on the lower notes for a little while as you get familiar with your core muscles, with activating your diaphragm, with expanding your rib cage. Okay, I hope that this helped you. And if you would like to go a little bit deeper, I highly recommend you join my Healthy Voice community. I do 1 to 2 live sessions every single week where we practice technique just like this. In fact, I just started a new series called Voice Lessons, where I teach the community 1 song per month, and I break it up into 4 different lessons per week. Every single Monday, we learn something new. On the second week, we talked about breath support, an entire lesson all about what we just went over. And so I really recommend you look into the Healthy Voice community. If you're a little shy and you don't feel like being part of a community, that's okay. We do have replays, and so you don't actually have to engage with anyone if that makes it a little bit easier for you. Inside my community at the practitioner level, I also include my voice liberation method, which you can also purchase separately if you prefer to go at your own pace and do things on your own. No matter what, keep doing these practices, keep working on your voice, keep learning how to engage your core muscles, learn how to channel your anger in a healthy way. See if you can transform your anger into something that actually becomes inspirational, something beautiful. You don't have to take your anger out on anybody or any furniture. You can just learn how to use your voice in a way that is not only interesting for others to listen to, but feels good. Certainly much better than shouting, screaming, yelling. Learning how to sing with a strong voice in order to carry that angry energy is one of the most liberating things I've ever learned. And so I hope you can learn to do this too. Keep going. The world needs your unique voice.